And this is something you guys can use as a life hack if you're ever down on cash and you're in your teens, so the repercussions won't be too serious. Because you do it as an adult, you'll get in trouble. But as a teen, actually, I did it as an adult too because it felt like an adventure. It was kind of okay. So it's called breaking into outdoor concerts, right? So there's these big concerts. I can't remember exactly what they're called in Ireland, but like 80,000 people or whatever the number is camp out, and there's like three stages, and the biggest, best bands in the world, maybe like Eminem. That's not a band, but 50 Cent. We'll just go back to that. Chemical Brothers. They're all playing, right? And like 1/3 of Ireland, nearly the whole demographic of 18 to 24 in Ireland goes to these music events once every summer. You get 3 days. It's like $200 or $250. You drink yourself stupid. Some people are doing drugs. I was never into them, but some people are doing that. And you camp out with your friends. You lose your mind. You hopefully meet a nice girl, and you listen to some great music, and you have a great story for when you go back to school or back to university, or at least you just feel like you've done something. Anyway, these concerts exist in most countries, unless I guess you live in one of the countries where you're not allowed to have fun. I'm not sure where they are, but I know they exist. Anyway, one time we didn't have cash, there wasn't a lot of money floating around. So we figured out this method. We were on one of our drives again. It's probably in Fonzie's car. I can't remember exactly who was doing it and who we were with, but you get in close to these locations, the places where these concerts are. And we figured out, this is what we did, right? You drive towards the concert, and as you get closer and closer to the concert, the security gets tighter and tighter, right? Which you would think would mean that it's going to get harder and harder as you go in. But this one day, I don't know how, the mastermind of a delinquent came up with this idea that we could garner information from the peripheral security, and as we got closer and closer to the center and the stage, we would just say that the person before us told us where to go. Let me explain. All right. So at all these big events, everyone wears black who's on security, just complete black, right? And they have hundreds and hundreds of security guards at these things. And they have shifts constantly changing over. So we found out that the shift change was at 8 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock, me and a carload of lads, I think there was some girls as well, maybe even two cars, we were in a convoy. Like, this is a mastermind stuff. That's about, $2,000 worth of concert tickets. So we were pulling up towards like the outer periphery of security. And it's usually on the outer periphery. It's like the most redundant, non-aware security guards. They put the people out on the periphery who probably won't do their job, right? So they're like the first line of defense, but enough to deter the average decent human, right? Weren't going to deter us. So we roll up on this outer security. Oh, by the way, the inner security at the stage, the VIP area, they're usually the biggest, strongest, maybe even most aggressive. And like, they're going to do their job no matter what. These guys are super trained, pro VIP security specialists. Anyway, we're on the periphery, our little convoy of cars, right? And we roll up on this guy. He's kind of nervous, and we just go, "Hey, dude, we're super friendly. We're super nice. We're all dressed in black. Everyone behind us is dressed in black. It's like special ops." And we go straight up. We talk. I say to him, or whoever says to him, "Hey, dude, we're here to do security for the event. Can you point us in the right direction?" And because he's on the periphery, and because he's not too sure how the whole thing works, and we're all dressed the same, it seems legit, and we're coming at the right security changeover time. He probably knows he's getting out at 8, so we must be the new thing. He goes, "Oh, it's just up there." And then we say, "Well, do you know the name of the guy in charge?" He gives us the name of the guy in charge. We get up to the second layer of defense. The convoy is moving through. Second layer of defense. We hit this next person. They're a little more apt. They're a little more, they're a little more with it, and they're just not like put it this way, they're a little more smart than the other person on the periphery, right? Anyway, we give the name of the person. Hey, we're here to see such and such. Just say it's Barry Blue. He's in charge of security. We're at the changeover at 8 o'clock. So every time we meet a new layer of security, and there's like 15 layers of security, our story gets stronger, right? And we're calling the car behind so they have the same information. Third layer. Hey, we're here to see Barry. We're doing the security at 8 o'clock. And then we'd add new information. We were just talking to such and such. And then we'd ask questions. If they seemed accessible, we'd ask them more questions. So by the time we got to the inner sanctum, which is where you sign up to be security for this event, where they brief all the security and they give you the access all areas pass for the whole weekend so that you can walk around and do your security job. We had like a minute of a spiel of information in both cars. So I would say, by the time we got to the last like bit of defense before we met the main guy, it was like Mario Brothers, where you have to fight the bosses, like, and they keep getting progressively more difficult. The spiel was something like, hey, we're here for the changeover. We would have all this information. It's like, hey, we're here. We'd have this name of the security company. We'd have the name of the person we're supposed to talk to and his underdog. We'd have the spiel about, yeah, we're actually here for the 8 o'clock to such and such shift. We'd have figured out all the details. We'd also, like, anyway, it was enough. It was so convincing that the blurb we gave to them, they point us in the direction of the security tent. Now we're in pretty much the backstage kind of security area of the concert, which is pretty close, but it's still not a win. And this is where you got to double down. You got to double down hard and make sure that you commit. So we're all in black, 8 of us, mainly guys, few girls, and they give us the brief and they appoint us to certain sections. You're going to be on that outpost to keep an eye on that corner. You're going to be up in the tower looking down the tent so that nobody starts any fires. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing that. And they put the wristbands on our wrists. And, they put on, there's like 50 people taking over the shift. And the guy's giving the brief as soon. And right at that point, we're eyeing up exactly where the entrance, like to the main thoroughfare of people is, so that we can mix into the crowd as quick as possible. And we also have our jackets like tied around our waist, like, and they're a different color, so that we can't be like, oh, the guys in the black are actually anyway. So they put the wristbands around our wrists, and as soon as they walk by us, we just peel off and we sprint for like 80,000 people with our free wristbands for the weekend. It was like the biggest, most crazy operation I think we've ever pulled off. And the fact that it was a whole convoy of people, it was pretty cool. And then we could go to the concert for the weekend. And that to us at the time seemed like innocent fun, because it was like this huge corporation that was losing and not people. Now I think about it and I kind of feel bad about it, It's like, but in a way, I think it was a good adventure. You have to do those kind of weird things as a kid so that you learn what's right and wrong. But then we'd be there for the whole weekend for free, but we had no tents. So the goal was like, what you could do if because it was during the summer is you could have a pretty good time, go walking stage to stage. And because we were super VIP at this point, we could get backstage. So we're like, say Justin Bieber's on stage and we're walking around pretending to be security. Me and I think my friend Jeremy, it was Collins. We at this point, I think we had, anyway, can't say that. Anyway, we're in the, there we are, backstage, and some superstars are on stage. And no one suspects anything, and we're having the best time of our lives. But because it was summer and we had no tents, we had to find people like to hang out with or friends via cell phone. and then they would let us, maybe stay in their tent or sleep out rough outside under the stars. But that was a really cool way. That's how you break into an outdoor concert. Every time you get to a new layer of security, you garner a little more information. So by the time you get to the inner sanctum, where they're giving out the wristbands, you got a great spiel, and then you gotta have the ability to run like a mother after a child is, yeah, that was a great thing. That was one of the that's one of those like terrible things you do that is wrong, but you're kind of proud that you had the brains to do it. And I think it was because at that time I felt like I was leading like a special ops mission. It was really cool. It felt cool. Yeah. And years later, then I would join the army and use those sneaking tactics to try and be a good little soldier.